Hi, everyone. Actually, from Tunisia, not from Namibia, for our Namibian friends here. I am Amel Riden, and I do serve, among many other hats, as one of the young negotiators to the UNFCCC COPs, serving on climate finance. Having this conference themed as a dialogue reminded me of a program called Dialogue for Peace that I joined and I trained a few years ago as a scout. And one of the activities reflected on the mix of one's sub-identities. How much would you rank them on a scale of 1 to 10? And whether you would give the same mark. Should you do the same exercise now, in a few years' time, a few years ago, if they ever feature in your identity star again? And while being young might not be an internal sub-identity that I would be carrying, unfortunately, my sub-identities mix includes several other components that kept on changing over time. It includes being an African, it includes being a Mediterranean, an Arab, a young professional, a daughter, a master's student, a young professional, scout, climate advocate, you name it. I invite you to also visualize your own identity star. And if you are a visual person, try to also reflect back on how these different pillars change over time until this version of yourselves. As I reflect on how these pillars were changing for me, these stars branches, I can't help but think how most of the current sub-identities, with all the beauty and diversity they bring to my persona, they do have gradually and have evolvedly had a link to climate change, and if anything, are threatened by its burden. How I'm spending my time, the people I'm talking to, the people in my circle, what I'm studying, my academic journey, my career, and so on and so forth. And as much as I'm enjoying this ride out of care, it includes bumpy roads, gets to a point where it's driven by control and fear, and scarily enough, gives the illusion that it is one single roadmap, ignoring all the alternative pathways that we might have. This is a feeling that is carried by most young people, all while acknowledging that we are not a homogeneous mix. And the label young is not the only, it is only one of the many sub-identities that we carry. We're also young professionals, activists, scientists, researchers, artists, advocates, policymakers, etc. And to every subcategory or to every label we carry its own challenges. Reflecting again on how we are all gathered to a dialogue, here in Berlin, coming from all over the world, this same scout training also taught me that for a dialogue to be qualified as such, it needs to have a clear aim, a mutual consultation, building bridges, and most importantly, get to a common ground. The definition talks about parties in the dialogue as being equal, and as having an equal leverage and in the equation, giving them the same or comparable power dynamics, and I believe that we're still far from that today. You guessed right, I'm here talking about the dual dynamic of the global north and global south while interacting and driving what we're all here for today. For a transition to be drastic, it should consider all parties in the process. Coming from Africa, the continent, you heard that many times, least responsible, only for 4% of the GHG emissions for 18% of the world's population, only attracting 2% of global investments. The only metrics that are so far going upwards is the global warming, which is the global warming average, which is even higher than the global average. So Africa warming average is higher than the global warming average. And especially in where I come from, in North Africa, it's getting even faster. So this is happening, and this is further dependent on the increase of the public debts, and then we get into this vicious circle where we are labeled as a risky continent and a lack of rethinking what risk actually means, and then the lock-in persists, and we get stuck there. The solutions provided should not trigger other gaps. If critical minerals are to be extracted for transition projects, they should not affect the lands of indigenous people. And if we are encouraging the use of AI and innovation, but this is only happening in countries where this is straightforward to do so, then we are only talking about an elitist upgrade, not a systemic transition. And then if the public and private sectors are not uniting together, be it for providing pools of blended finance or for a policy-oriented approach, for a whole society approach, then we are missing a lot, and it's going to take us a lot of time. This is not about achieving a certain metric. It's about ensuring energy efficiency happens with energy justice at its core. And the moment we look at clean energy as a prerequisite for a human life, then we make sure that we maintain human dignity and that it is an instrument, not only an end in itself. We should ensure the deployment of resources accordingly, and then financing the transition and later the transformation should be a top priority. Finally, to close my speech, and while justice school of thoughts are different, procedural, distributive, compensatory, intra-generational, you name it, I think we're still far from any of these, at least where I stand. After drafting this speech, I went to have a look at young keynote speeches from previous editions to make sure I'm not off track. And ironically, all of them mentioned justice in their speeches. And I think if all of us here think it's important, I think you all here should agree. To all decision makers in the room, you made it all the way here to join a dialogue. Please make sure it's genuinely a dialogue, not a discussion, not a motto, but truly a transformative dialogue. Thank you.